Welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Today we shall continue with the classification of living organisms, and we are going to look at some kingdoms of living organisms.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Today our learning objective will be each student should be able to state the characteristic features of kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, and kingdom Fungi. They should be to give us the classes under each of these phylum or division and give an example of organism that belong to each of the kingdom, and as well give the characteristics of virus as a living thing and as a non-living thing. I hope we are going to meet our objective today. Today, the first kingdom we are looking at. But before I go into this, remember I said in classification, in the traditional classification, we have two kingdoms, kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. But the modern classification decided to give us 5 kingdoms to accommodate especially bacteria or microorganisms or unicellular organisms, which are too tiny to be seen and be placed in a particular group. So let's go along with the kingdom Monera. The kingdom Monera consists of the smallest living organism, bacteria, blue-green algae, and anabena. They are microscopic. That means you can only see them through the microscope, and they are single cell. That means they are just one cell organism. So if you ask to mention an example of a one cell organism, bacteria is an example, blue-green algae is an example. Their cell wall does not contain cellulose. One of the reasons why we decided to give them their own classes is because their cell wall lacks cellulose. If you check some old classification, they are classified under plants in the division Schistophyta. But because their cell wall does not have cellulose, that is why they are removed from the plant cell, from the plant kingdom, and are placed in their own kingdom. I said it is made up of protein and fatty materials. In plants, their plant cell wall is made up of cellulose cell wall. They have no definite nucleus. Because they don't have definite nucleus, that's why we call them prokaryotics. Prokaryotes are cells that lack nucleus and some organelle. So bacteria is a prokaryote because it lacks definite nucleus. The nucleus is not clearly seen, and as well as some organelle. But ribosome is present because it can produce protein. This is an example of bacterial cell, the labeling. It has a cell wall, it has its own cytoplasm because it's a cell. Then it has flagella for movement, then the cell membrane, then it has nucleus and ribosome for the production of protein, which help or aid in its reproduction. These are the various forms in which our bacteria can exist. Moving on, the next kingdom is kingdom Protista or kingdom Protocista. Anyone that is easy for you to write there, you write. But what is important is spelling. Spelling is very important. Kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista consists of 2 groups of organisms. Organism that has the animal features and organism that has the plant features. Here are they are unicellular organisms. That means they are just one cell organism, like bacteria. They are also one cell organism. Most of them are also microscopic. Their organisms are eukaryotes. That means in their cell, you can see the nucleus clearly and organelles clearly. Most of them are aquatic because they live a simple nature. That is why most of them are found inside water. You can find them in a pond. You can find them in fresh water. You can find them in estuarine environment. They move either by cilia. Cilia is small hair-like structure which is used for movement in some organisms. Flagella is a whip-like structure. If you have seen where they beat an horse to move, the whip-like structure is the flagella, and this pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is false feet. The organism only develop it when they want to move. Some are free-living, while few are parasitic. Free-living means they don't cause any serious disease. They don't get their nutrients from living organisms. But parasitic, they get their nutrients from living organisms. Now, protists can broadly be divided into two parts. We have the protozoa and we have the protophyta. Let me explain here again. Protozoa used to be part of the animal kingdom, but because of their unicellular nature, they decided to give them their own kingdom. Protophyta, part of the protophyta, used to be part of the plant kingdom because most of them has chloroplasts in their cell. Why the protozoa? Because they don't have chloroplasts in their cell and they don't manufacture their food. So they behave like animal. The protophyta behave like plants. These are examples of some of the organisms that belong to the protista. The next one is the some kingdom protozoa. The protozoa is made up of the following classes. Phylum Sarcodina. Example of animal under the Sarcodina are amoeba, foraminans, and eleonoids. Example of the next one is phylum Xylophora. Those ones that have cilia in their nature. The Sarcodina move by use of pseudopodia. The Xylophora, they move by the use of cilia. Then the next one is phylum Zoomastigina. Most of these organisms in this phylum are mostly parasitic, as well as the phylum Sporozoa, which is Plasmodium. This is one of the most popular organisms that reside in our body because it's an organism that causes malaria in our body. Trypanosoma is the one that causes sleeping sickness in our body. So most of the Zoomastigina and Sporozoa are parasitic. Most of Sarcodina, some are also parasitic, the same way with Xylophora. These are some of their pictures. You can see the paramecium, you can see Euglena, you can see amoeba, you can see Trypanosoma, you can see Plasmodium. The next subgroup is the protophyta. The protophyta is the protophyta are protista that are plant-like in nature. They have structures that resemble plants. They have chloroplasts and they have cellulose cell wall. These are some of the divisions of the kingdom protophyta. Division Christophyta, division Dinoflagellata, which example is Chlamydomonas, division Iglenophyta, division Chlorophyta, division Rhydophyta, and so on and so forth. These are some of their pictures of parts of some organisms that belong to each of these groups. Still continue with their picture. These are representative of some of these sub-kingdom. This is amoeba. This is paramecium. Amoeba, as we know, is irregular in shape. This is paramecium. It has a definite shape. It looks like sepals or sepals in shape. Amoeba has a contractile vacuole for excretion. It has a food vacuole which is formed after enclosing its food. There is a nucleus that controls all activity in the cell, as well as paramecium. The air-like structure that surround the paramecium is called cilium. Cilium is singular, cilia is plural. So if you label one part, cilium, if you label two or more air-like structure on the body of paramecium, you call it cilia. One is cilium, two is cilia. This is a representative of the protophyta. We have Euglena and Chlamydomonas. Euglena and Chlamydomonas. Now, one spectacular thing about Euglena is it can behave as animal at some point. It can also behave as plant at some point because it has some structure within it that make it to behave like animal and also structure that make it to behave like plants. For example, it has chloroplast. Any organism that has chloroplast is a plant because it is the chloroplast that allow plants to produce chlorophyll, which is very, very important for photosynthesis. The same way, its own plasma membrane, its own body, has been modified to what we call pellicle. The pellicle give it a distinct structure. It is this structure that make it easy for euglena to have a distinct structure. Then it has another structure that we call pyrenoid. The pyrenoid help in the conversion of excess glucose into starch. Then it has flagellum. The flagellum make it an animal. It uses the flagellum for movement. It has a Golgi body. It has a lysosome. A lysosome is only found in animal cell. It's not found in plant cell. It also has an eye spot, which is sensitive to light. The same thing goes for Chlamydomonas. It can also behave as a plant. It can also behave as an animal. The next kingdom we are looking at is the kingdom fungi. The kingdom fungi is one of the kingdoms that used to be part of the plant kingdom before. It was removed from the plant kingdom before they find out that its cell wall does not contain cellulose, but is made up of protein or polypeptides. So the kingdom fungi, they are non-green organisms which do not photosynthesize. That is because they lack chlorophyll. That's one of the reasons they were removed from the plant kingdom. In the old classification, they were classified under the Talophyta because they are just like thread-like in nature, like the Talophyte. But because they lack chlorophyll and their cell wall lack cellulose, that is why they are now placed in their own special group. Fungi, most of them are multicellular, except yeast, which is unicellular. Their body is made up of a flexible or tough material that is called chitin and a polysaccharide. They can reproduce asexually by producing spore, and sexually as well, mostly by conjugation. The next one, most of them, they lack true root, stem, and leaf. That means they don't have roots, they don't have stem, they don't have leaves. That is why they are removed from the plant kingdom. Few are unicellular, I've said it before. Most are multicellular. Example is our rhizopods and mushrooms. Their body is made up of a network of thread-like structure. Each of these structure is called an hyphae, but collectively they are called mycelium. Plural is mycella. An hyphae is singular and hypha is plural. Their body is made up of a thread-like structure known as hyphae. All their body is made up of interconnected hyphae, which is called mycelium. Example of our rhizopods, our fungi are yeast, rhizopods, penicillium, which is popular in the making of antibiotics. These are pictures. The next organism we are going to look at is virus. Virus is included here because it's an organism that most do not classify as living, some classify as non-living. Viruses are microscopic in nature. That means they can only be seen by microscope, and they lack nucleus and cytoplasm. And any organism that is lacking nucleus is regarded as a prokaryote. They are varying in shape and size. That means they can occur in different shapes, like bacteria. This one also occur in shapes and size. That's why it is easy for them to affect any cell. They can't live an independent life. That means they cannot live on their own, except they are in a living organism. The next one, they live and reproduce only within a living cell. If they are outside a living cell, they don't reproduce. But once they are inside a living cell, their reproduction becomes fast. Under few seconds, virus can multiply rapidly. They are intracellular parasites. That means they affect cells. They are parasites that reside within the cell itself. These are types of virus we have. The various types of virus we have. We have the helical virus. We have the polyhedral virus. We have the spherical virus. And we also have the complex virus. These are the different shapes each of these viruses we have. This is an example of the popular coronavirus we have. The one we experienced during 2020 lockdown. This is the shape of the virus. Now this next one is features of virus. Features of virus as living and non-living. A virus is regarded as a living organism because it has protoplasm. Protoplasm is the living material in a cell. For every organism to be alive, it must be made up of a living content. That is why it's made up of protoplasm. It has a protein coat. What protects its own cell membrane is made up of protein. The next one is it contains DNA, RNA, and nucleic acid. If you remember, the DNA is the genetic material. The chemical nature of genetic material is one of the reasons why virus can multiply, can reproduce within a living body, because it contains DNA. It gives him to reproduce, make more generations, and they can reproduce in a living cell because they have a DNA. The next one is features that make a virus non-living. Reason why they are non-living, and this, they appear in crystals. If they are outside the living body, they appear in form of crystals, like sugar. You know, sugar crystals, they can look like that and remain until they enter into the body. That is why they ask us to sterilize all our sharp objects before using it, because a virus can stay on the metal for a long time. If you get its way into a system, it becomes alive. Then they lack organelles. Organelles are small cellular structure which is missing in virus. It's one of the reasons why virus is regarded as non-living thing. I hope we have been able to get one or two things from what we have lectured so far. Next, we are looking at some practice questions to make us go through what we have learned. The first question here is state 3 characteristics of the kingdom protista. Kingdom protista. The next one is how many groups of kingdom protista do we have? How many groups? Name them. You name the kingdom. Name the organism that possess characteristic features of both plant and animal. Name 2 plants and animal features. Then state 2 features each that make a virus a living thing and a non-living thing. I give you 30 seconds to go over the practice question again before I come back and explain more. Now, these are solutions to the practice question. I hope you are able to do 1 or 2. Now, the first question says we should state characteristics of the kingdom protista. Kingdom protista. They are unicellular organisms. You should remember them, unicellular organism. If you cannot write unicellular, you can write they are one-cell organism. They are one-cell organism. Every organism that is unicellular can only be seen by a microscope. So you can even add they are microscopic in nature. They are organisms, they are eukaryotes. That means they have distinct nucleus and organelles. Distinct nucleus and organelles. So if you can mention they are eukaryotes or they are organisms that have nucleus and organelle. Most protists are aquatic. Most are aquatic. You can simply say they can be found in water. Or specifically, they can be found in ponds. They can be found in stagnant water. They can be found in river. And they can be found in streams. Because in exam, once they ask you to mention habitats, you must give specific example. Pond, stream, fresh water. Then they move either by cilia, flagella, or pseudopodia. Anyone is okay. If you can't mention the three, they move by, some move by cilia, or some move by flagella, some move by pseudopodia. If you can add example, it's better. Some move by cilia, you put example, paramecium. Some move by flagella, example, euglena. Some move by pseudopodia, if you can add example, it's good. Some are free living and some are parasitic. Then, how many groups of kingdom protista can be divided? Into how many groups? Into how many groups can kingdom protista be divided? We have just two groups, protozoa and protophyta. This one is into how many groups can kingdom protista be divided? We have kingdom, it can be divided into two. This is two questions in one. Into how many groups? You need to answer that first. Two. Mention two, that it can be grouped into two. Then I say name. You cannot give the name of the group. Kingdom protozoa and kingdom protophyta, or class or phylum protozoa for animal, protophyta for plants, division for plants, phylum for animal, phylum protozoa, division protophyta. The next one is name the organism that possess features of plants and animal, and name two features for plants and features for the animal. The animal is euglena. You can simply write euglena, or you write the full name, Euglena viridis. Euglena viridis. Remember, this is the scientific name. Each of these names must be underlined. But if you are typing, it must be in form of italics. If you write, it must be underlined or in form of italics. So the name is Euglena or Euglena viridis. If you cannot get this correct spelling of the species name, stay with Euglena. The next one is the plant features. It has a chloroplast, which is the site of photosynthesis. It has paramylium granule or starch grains. Only plants can produce starch. Then it also has perenoid. Perenoid is convert excess glucose into starch. The next one is animal features. It has flagellum for movement. It has pellicle that gives it distinct shape. Some textbook says the pellicle is the reason why some regarded Euglena as animal, because the pellicle has been modified. It's a cell wall that has been modified, that has changed, or cell membrane that has been modified into different form. Then it has the eye spot. The eye spot is needed for sensitivity to light. It functions like the eye. Anywhere there is light, it moves towards it. Then it has contractile vacuole. Contractile vacuole is needed for excretion to remove excess water. And it also has a gullet. The gullet is for passage of food into the organism. Now, state two features which virus has in common with living thing and non-living thing. Features that virus has in common with living thing and non-living thing. They can change the question and ask you, state features that make virus a living thing, state features that make virus a non-living thing. The first one, it has protoplasm, or it has a living material called protoplasm. It has a protein coat or cell membrane. It contains DNA or RNA or nucleic acid. DNA or RNA or nucleic acid. Then it can reproduce in every living cell. Once inside the living cell, it can undergo the characteristics of reproduction. But outside the living system, it cannot reproduce. Then those that make it a non-living, it appears as crystal. It appears as crystal outside the living system. Once it's outside the living system, it ceases to be alive. Then it looks like a crystal. The next one is it lacks organelle. The organelle are like soldiers that help, or workers that help the cell to work. It does not have it in him. Inside the cell lacks it. So because it lacks it, that's why it is regarded as a non-living thing. I hope with these practice solutions, you'll be able to understand the topic we have done so far.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
For questions and comments, feel free to get back to us on our social media handles that will be displayed on the screen. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.